Hi there, this is Marhadat here again. In this video, I have to show you how you can do priority for the Zoom applications and of course Zoom web, because a lot of people, after I have made one video speaking about how to prioritize Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook, they have written to me and they have asked me to do also a video to show how you can do the priority for Zoom, because we are in pandemic period, and we are still, and a lot of people are working on Zoom. So we as network engineers, we would like to provide some priority for the Zoom traffic. So in case a lot of people are working on the network, and we have some people are doing Zoom video conference, then those traffic which are for Zoom will be allocated for them some bandwidth, and we can also give them some priority. So as you can see here, the lab is for 8 points. Let's go directly and start with point number 1. Check if your router is connected to the internet. So at this moment, I only have one MikroTik router, and I have my computer connected to it. That's it. And my computer is taking internet from the MikroTik router. So let's check first if the MikroTik router is connected to the internet. We can go from here, tools, and we go to ping. And let's ping, for example, Google IP address. You see that it is going to the internet. And I have already configured the MikroTik router to also share internet to my computer. And you can see now, if I say ipconfig, that is the IP I'm receiving from my MikroTik router, and if I ping, for example, google.com, then we will see that I'm also connected to the internet. So what I'm going to do now, I have to do some configuration to give some priority for WhatsApp, and then after that I will check that on my computer, because my computer is like the LAN. It's connected to the router, but it is the LAN. Point number 1 is done. Point number 2, check the Zoom website for the list of the server IP address. What does it mean? So when I was doing some research about Zoom to see how I can make the configuration to give priority for Zoom, I thought that I would like to see if Zoom, they have a list of servers which are the servers used for Zoom. Because in case I have them, then I can classify them using an address list, and I can do some configuration saying that any traffic going to those servers, do something for them, which is the priority. So I just want to show you how I could find that. So if I go to the browser, and from here I just, on Google, I just wrote Zoom, and then I said IP server list. Once I have done that, I have received those information, but the one which I checked, this one. So over here on that link, Zoom, this is on the Zoom website from the support, they list for you what are the IP addresses and the ports that are used on Zoom. And of course, I also have been able to get the list of servers, but let me show you that Zoom used port 80 and port 443. That's for in case you are doing Zoom from the web. But also they will use some other ports, which are these ports, those ports. They are used for the Zoom in case you are using an application, like for example from your phone or from your tablet. But this is not what I wanted to see. There are some other information here that they gave. Let me see this one. Yes, this is the page that I looked for. And you can see over here, they put for us the list of IP addresses that Zoom used for their servers. You can see that. And those lists, they can come sometimes changed, sometimes they put some additional ones, sometimes they remove some ones. So that means what? That means we have also to track those IP addresses in case they change that. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. So in case you put, for example, an address list for those list of IP addresses, and in case those IP addresses have been changed, removed, or added some news, so IP addresses, then also I can do something to capture those IP addresses. So let me show you how we can do that. So what I have done, I have just taken those and put them inside my Notepad++. So I have created a address list. Address list is nothing more on MikroTik than like a place where you classify things together. So it's like something you have to think like you are classifying those addresses, and you give them a name which is Zoom. So how to create the addresses on MikroTik is very easy. Normally you have to go from here, from IP, and then you go firewall, and then you create an address list, and you give it, for example, name Zoom, and you put the IP here, and then you say, okay, for example, let's say 1.2.3.4. just an example. So now what I need to do is to take all those IPs for Zoom servers and put them here, and it takes too much of time for me to do that. So what I've done, and this is something I'm going to leave it for you, so I have created this address list. So you only need to copy and paste it. I will leave it for you in the description of this video. So copy, and then I'll come to here on the new terminal and I paste it. Here we go. So now once I have finished doing that, if we go again to IP firewall, we can see that we have now a address list called Zoom, and inside this address list you see all those IP addresses, and those IP addresses, believe it or not, they are the IP addresses of the Zoom server. But again, as I told you, they may change, they may stay, they may be removing, adding new ones. So that's something we need to see how we can fix that, because we want to do the configuration once and we want that to always Zoom will have priority on our network. Part number 2 is done. So we have checked on the website of Zoom the list of IP servers, and we have pasted. So point number 3 also I have done it. So we have pasted the Zoom IP addresses inside the router command line, and they are now inside an address list called Zoom. Very good. So now we have all the servers classified in an address list for Zoom. Now what I need to do is to create a Mango rule to capture the Zoom servers on both TCP and UDP port, those ports that we have seen them, and add them inside the address list Zoom. What does it mean? As I told you, Zoom use some ports, and that's something we have seen them here. You see them over here. They use some ports which are UDP and TCP. So for example, 8801, 8802. All right. So also we see here. So what I'm going to do now, and this is what I'm saying here, that we have to create a Mango rule that we need to capture the Zoom servers. So in case we have traffic going to those ports, which are those ports that I have listed them here, then the IP where it's going, which is the Zoom server, is going to be added inside the address list, which is Zoom. So that means anyone going to those ports on TCP or UDP, that means he's doing Zoom. So he's going to the Zoom server. So then I will take the IP of that Zoom server and I will add it to the address list. In case it is inside the address list already, then it will not add it because it is already there. But in case it is not inside that address list, then it will add it. And that's once, in case Zoom change their IP addresses of the servers, then this will solve for us the problem. So we have to create a Mango rule for both TCP and UDP for those ports. All right. So let me show you how you can do that. So we go from here, IP firewall, and we have to go to Mango rule. I will create a Mango rule. And I will say pre-routing anything which is TCP going to the destination port, and let me show you those ports. I have put them over here. So TCP and UDP, those are the ports for the applications, and those are the ports for the web. So I will copy those ports, destination ports over here. So anything which is TCP going to those destination port, you can, if you want, say here destination address which is not inside the Zoom address. You can do that if you want. So that means any traffic going to those ports, TCP and those ports, and you see that the IP is not inside the Zoom address list. All right, that's what that is mean here. Then the action is to add the destination to address list and add them inside Zoom. And we can give them, for example, for 4 days. 4 days, that means 96 hours, I believe so. 48 plus 48, that's 96, yes. So 96 hours, then it is 4 days. All right, but now I will not leave that, so we can also remove it. That's not a problem. You can put it, you can remove it. That's not a problem. And so this is what they are saying us here to do: create a Mango route to capture Zoom servers, both TCP and UDP. So we have done the TCP and add the address list Zoom. All right, and this is what it shows here. This is also, I'm going to leave it for you. That's what we have done. So anything which is going to report those ports, which is having protocol TCP, add them inside the address list, which is Zoom. Now we have to do one for the UDP because Zoom use TCP and UDP. So all I can do, double click on that one, copy. And now instead of putting here TCP, I will put UDP. Anything going as UDP traffic to those ports, then the action is to add them inside the address list Zoom, and then also for 4 days. All right, very good. So this is done from here. If you want, we can just make here a comment, and we can put here adding Zoom IPs to the address list. Yeah. So now we know that this has been done. Point number 4 is done. Point number 5. Now what I need to do is to mark those connections, which are TCP and UDP, going to those ports, and having the destination address list, which is Zoom. So what does it mean here? This means that anything which is going to the ports, which are those ports that I have listed them here, anything which are going to those ports, and they are inside the address list, which are here, then mark their connection. So the connection means once you open Zoom, then it will open a connection between your computer and the Zoom server. So we mark those connections, and then we mark their packets, because first they will open a connection, and then all the packets will go inside that connection. So we mark the connection, and then all the packets, that's fine. We don't have to mark each packet, because then the CPU will stay low on the router. All right. So that means what we need to do here is to go also to say pre-routing, also TCP, also the destination port, which are those ones. But now we have to say, in case they are inside the address list Zoom, then action is to mark those connections and call them, for example, Zoom connection. All right. So let's repeat it. Pre-routing TCP going to those ports, and the servers are inside the Zoom address list that I have created. Then mark those connection and call them Zoom connection. All right. So this is what I have done over here, and you can see this is what I have done over here. This one, IP firewall manual. So destination address is the Zoom protocol TCP, destination port, those port, and then we have made the mark connection and Zoom connection. So we have done for TCP. Let's do also for UDP. Now I will make also a copy of that one, and here we have to say, in this case, we have to go to UDP. Should be here, UDP. So also those ports, and we have said that here they are inside Zoom. Then the action is also to mark them as Zoom connection. This pass-through means go to the second line in the Mango rules that we are creating. We still need to have it checked, all right, because we didn't finish the work. So now what's happening is that every connection that is being opened to the servers, which have the destination ports that I have listed them, then they will have a connection which is marked under the name of Zoom connection. So let's give here a comment, and then here we say mark Zoom connection with an S. All right, very good. So we have done this point. Point number 5 is done. Point number 6. Now we need also to mark the connection which has destination port 80 and 443 and destination address list Zoom. What does it mean here? Remember, I said to you when I was explaining at the beginning that Zoom also use the TCP port 80 and 443 in case someone is opening Zoom from a browser, and then also it will use the port 80 and 443. So we need also to mark those connections as well, because it may happen that we have people using Zoom from their web browser. So how to do that? Actually, it's also easy. I can make a copy of that one. And we have to say here, pre-routing, in this case, port is TCP, and the protocol TCP actually, and the port 80 and 443. So anything which is going to the servers of Zoom and have TCP using port 80 and 443, then mark them and mark them as Zoom connection also. All right, so that's the also point we need to mark them. So now we know what are the servers, we are capturing them, and we are saying that all the connection going to those servers which have those ports that I have listed them, then we have to mark them as connections. Now we use those connections to mark the packets. Point number 6 is done. Point number 7, create a Mango rule and mark the packets of the Zoom connections. So as I said to you, that once you open a connection to the servers of Zoom, then you are opening a connection, and all those packets will pass through a connection. So you have to think like a connection, something like a tunnel which is opened, and all those packets will go inside this tunnel without being marked one by one, the packets. Otherwise our CPU becomes very high. We need to make mark packet because we need to use it when we want to use the quality of service. So how to do that? We have to create here another Mango rule, and we have to say pre-routing anything which has the marking connection, which is Zoom connection. Then action is to mark that packet and call them Zoom, for example, packet with an S. And we have to remove the pass-through because this is the last line in the Mango rule. So that's it. And we can give it here a comment, and we can call it Zoom or mark Zoom packets. All right, very good. So this is all I need to do. Now we have to go to the quality of service part. Point number 7 is done. Point number 8, apply a simple queue of 6 megabit and assign Zoom 3 megabit. So once we have this marking for the packet, we can apply it to a quality of service. Now remember that the idea is that we want to give some bandwidth for Zoom. Then in case people are using the internet, then this is reserved. Now we can do it in different ways. On the queue we can use what is called simple queue, or we can use the queue tree. Queue tree is more advanced, and it is, I would say, best way to do it. But because I'm doing this video most likely for people who have MikroTik routers in their network and they do not have a lot of knowledge in queue tree, then I'm going to use simple queue. It doesn't mean that simple queue is the best. Queue tree is the best one because it can use what's called the HTTP, but for now it's fine for this test to use the simple queue. So what I'm going to do now on simple queue, I have to create here, I will call it parent queue. All right. On this parent queue, my LAN, look at my LAN to show you. My LAN is 192.168.0.0. All right. So on the target, I will say 192.168.0.0/24. So let's say that I do have, for example, 6 megabit on both upload and download. And this 6 megabit, I need to divide it. Well, I have to give people who want to do Zoom, I have to give them 3 megabit. And the rest I have to do using some other traffic to use also only 3 megabit. So this is the parent queue. That's what I only need to do over here. And then I will say, okay, now if you want to make a test, if I go to, for example, we go from here and we go to fast.com, we should see that we are not going to get more than 6 megabit. And as you can see, this is, now it will go down to 6 megabit. You see, so we are limited now to 6 megabit per second. Very good. And if you want to check also the upload, it will also show in the moment that you only have 6 megabit. So it will go down to 6 megabit. All right, so that means the queue is working. You can see it's also red, so the queue is working. Now I need to give for the Zoom some traffic. So in case someone is doing Zoom, then he can get that traffic. So I will go from here and I have to create a queue for Zoom. So Zoom queue. All right. And the target also is 192.168.0.0/24. Now over here, I will have to give the maximum limit is 3 megabit on the upload and 3 megabit on the download. Now on advanced, I have to go to the Zoom packet. Once I go to the Zoom packet, that means all the connections which are open to the Zoom servers and all the packets will belong to that queue that I'm creating here. And then I have to say that this is part of the parent, which is the parent queue over here. Now the priority here, in case you do have some other traffic inside the same part, you can just give here priority higher for Zoom. You can just give, for example, priority 1. In my case, it's not important. We can keep it 8. But in case you have more traffic that are going to be used in the same LAN, then you better, and you want to use it on that queue, you better use priority 1. All right. So you can see that now this one has gone under the parent queue. So we can see over here, this is going under the parent queue, and it has a bandwidth of 3 megabit per second. So now the Zoom has that much of capacity. Now we need to create another one, another queue for the other traffics, because we said that we have 6 megabit in total. 3 megabit will go to Zoom on both upload and download, and the rest will go for the other traffic. So we create another queue, and we can call it other queue. So for the other, and also 192.168.0.0/24. And over here we can say that it is 3 megabit. That is 3 megabit. And the parent over here is parent queue, and over here on the marking we say no mark. So for all other, then this is the bandwidth they can get. Very good. So now I will have to do the test. First, let me just show you if I open again fast. All right, we make the tests and we see that now this is the one which is going to be used. So in a moment we shall see that. You see, it's becoming red. And look, it is 3 megabit. So this queue has been used. Zoom has not been affected because there is no Zoom traffic, but that one is being affected. Now it's doing also the upload. You see it's 3 megabit. It will go down to 3 megabit in a moment. So you can see that is red. That means it is policing, stopping the traffic to 3 megabit. All right, very good. So that is working. Now let me just open Zoom. I will open Zoom on my computer. I have the application of Zoom. I'm not sure if I can have some traffic, but yeah, I will just make start. So this Zoom now starting. But anyway, I don't think that there will be traffic because I'm not talking to anyone on Zoom now. Oh yeah, it is. It is. Here we go. So you see, it is 3 megabit. Now it's going to red. If we go to the IP firewall, let's move this down. Look, you see how it is increasing the bytes, and for all what we have done, they are increasing. And over here, I'm not sure if it has added some address list of servers. Yes, it has added one. You see, this is the dynamic. It has added one server which was not in my list, because I just opened the Zoom and then it has captured and said, oh, there is one server for Zoom that I don't see it in this list. I will add it. So you can see how beautiful it is now. And now, believe it or not, you are able to allow for your users to have Zoom traffic without any problem. Point number 8 is done, and with this point I have showed you this how you can give some traffic for Zoom and give it priority as well. So in case, for example, you are creating many queues together, then you can give for Zoom the priority higher than the others. Then all the traffic of the Zoom will go first, and also you can reserve for the Zoom traffic some bandwidth, then it will work perfectly with you. And in case you have some other traffic, that's not a problem. That's not a problem, doesn't affect. And if you want, I can just show you one more time. If we go back here and let's see now. So this is Zoom open, and let's do the fast again. Look, fast will be using this one and Zoom will be using this one. You see, because I opened fast, it is now red, but Zoom, it's no problem. So in case someone is doing download, watching movies, whatever, then you are not affected. Your Zoom is working, keep working without any problem. So this is all what I wanted to show you in this video. It took me some time to get all those information for you, but yeah, I hope that now it's more clear for you how you can do priority for the traffic of Zoom, how you can also assign for it some bandwidth. And if you like my way of explanation, please subscribe to my channel and like this video and share it for your colleagues and friends so people can know more about my videos. Thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next video.